All right, I'm going to do a review of kind of what we did in class today to help the folks who weren't there because things have changed from last year's videos on what you have access to in Revit 2024 to make your kind of base flooring. So I'm going to first kind of review quickly how to do materials and just review sort of the solution we found to some issues with creating like basically our new custom floorings from basically sample ones. And we're going to pause because, of course, my blue ball is spinning now too. Okay, so you want to go to the Manage button up here. It's about 4 over from the far right, and then Materials. And this is how we're going to make our basically custom carpet, floor tile, and wood. Now, in class, all of you do have this carpet one, this lovely red. So that's going to be the same as the video I sent you. This one, it will not differ in terms of making that material. However, the other defaults you need to make basically stone flooring and wood flooring, basically tile and wood, is there's not really a default here already. So what you're going to type in is default and flooring. That doesn't come up. You can just do default, just the default one. So let's see if it comes up for me again. These are taking a longer time on mine. So we're going to just put in default. If you just type the word default, you're going to have it come up as one of your choices. So it's default. And you've got to say this just right. So it's default floor, not flooring. So you're going to use that one. Click on that. Then you're going to right click and pick the second option, duplicate material and assets. That's going to just make a copy of default floor. So we're going to change this in a minute to what your flooring is going to be. So in my case, I've already done some wood flooring. So I'm going to now make a tile. So always name it what it is. Like try to remember, keep a generic name so you can find it right away. So mine's going to be tile. And literally I have just yellow and pink. So I'm going to put tile yellow right now. So now to get this from being just this blobby gray, I'm going to go over here and where it says image, no image selected. I'm going to literally click on that box. I'm clicking on basically the words, no image selected. It's going to bring up my file. So you're going to have to navigate to wherever you've stored this picture. And you all should have at least 1 or 2 by now. So I have this kind of hexagon floor pattern. I'll bring it up here. So one of the things we talked about in class is you're going to have to figure out the math of your own pattern. So I helped a lot of people in class sort of mathing it out based on wherever you ordered this from. Now, I remember that these guys were 6 inches across. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 times 6 is 36 high. I think it's also 6 tall. So it's basically 1, 2, 3, 4-ish, probably 5. So it's going to be 36 by 30. So 36 this way, 30 inches that way. So if you need help, you need to kind of go back to where you found it, find out what the real size of this is. You can guesstimate it for now if you want, because we can always come back and change it. So that's the picture I want. I'm going to say open. It's going to bring that in for me right here in a minute. Now I need to double click on literally the picture. That's what opens up this editing part of it, where I'm going to check the scale. It defaults into bringing it in usually like a foot by a foot or some kind of square. So I'm going to first undo the lock right here. Oh, once it starts staving. And in my case, remember mine is going to be 36 across. And I think I said 30 the other way. So 30 inches, make sure I have that. And now it's kind of back to that sort of rectangle shape it's supposed to have. So I'm going to say done. Now, one of the things you're going to pay attention to is how shiny you want your tile. So when we made carpet, this setting is going to be way down here. Or if you have floor that you don't want to have really glossy, you can kind of play with how shiny. My tile is going to have a little bit of a shine to it. It'll probably have a bit of a finish, but not something super like shiny and slippery. I can come back and change this later. So I'm going to just leave that there for now. I'm going to say apply and then okay. We have had the issue in class where you have all correctly created a material and then they disappear from your library. So don't be alarmed if it does that. Be alarmed. It sucks. It's a waste of time, but it happened to multiple people. It's kind of a weird quirk. All right, so what we did in class, and this is the correct way to put in flooring. So I already have kind of various settings over here. So I'll just kind of roughly draw one in over here. Actually, you know what? I'll delete one out just so we can kind of play with it quick. I'll take this room out right here. The other thing we talked about in class is often it's hard to get a hold of the floor. I can actually get it pretty easily this way, but I was showing a lot of people to kind of flip your model almost upside down, and then you can get a hold of your flooring a little bit more easily that way. But I've got it right there. I'll flip it back around. I'm going to delete that guy out just so I can kind of do another demo with that for folks who are in class. So we're going to say delete. We'll go back to level 1. So now it's missing there. So the way we were doing it in class, this is the correct way. Then I'm going to show you a shortcut way. And probably everyone who's in class, you can groan and moan at me because this is a lot easier. So make all your materials first. That's the quickest way to do this. Then what now we're going to do is put this floor in. So if you go over to Architecture tab, Floor, pick Floor Architectural, and then, like I said, what we found in class is you all have a lot less options than I have. My Revit and previous students had carpet, wood, other options here in the drop-down menu. You all this year seem to have less. So we were using this 4-inch concrete slab with VCT. So we were opening that up. And then what we were doing is we're going to this button, Edit Type, and we're going to duplicate this. We're going to go over here and click duplicate. And now I'm going to name this one, instead of VCT, with yellow tile. That's going to kind of be the one I've just made. So we'll say okay. Then we're going to click on edit. And this is structurally making a floor like correct in the real world. So there's concrete, there's a layer below it to keep water out, there's a layer above it that's like usually a padding or something like that. There's the VCT on top, that's the top finish layer. So what you have to do is, if you see what happens, I clicked like right next to the name. I'll do that again because it's hard to see in class. If you hover right near the name and see this little box comes up, so you click on that box, and that's what then jumps you back to your materials library, basically that materials tab. So here's where all your material is. So I'm going to type in tile. Hopefully I called it yellow, whatever. So we'll see if that comes up in my list. Like I said, I forgot the name. I just made it. So it's good to write this down if you can remember the darn tile. So there it is, tile yellow. So I'm going to say, click on that, say okay. That's pulling that material in. Now that's going to be the top of the flooring system. I'm going to say okay. And then now I'm going to draw the floor in. So that's a lot of steps. Actually, I'm going to say apply. And I'm going to say okay again. And now I'm going to draw it here. So now you have to pay attention to these buttons up here. So you're going to take the square or the line and trace it. So in my case, I'm doing a square. I'm going to go kind of from the middle of the wall. We talked about in this class where you want to have your walls bump up to each other. I'll show you how to edit that in a minute. I'm going to bring it to about here. Actually, I'm going to bring it out so it goes under my glass wall. And then I'm going to press the green arrow to finish it up. And then I should see my yellow tile there. I'm not going to leave this for my final because it's a little bonkers. We also talked in class that this is a draft version of it. So actually, that's the other thing. You should be over here on the second button in on realistic. That's going to mean you're going to see the more realistic textures in here. You can turn it back to textures and it's going to just kind of default and be a little bit bummer. So this is without it pulling in lighting. You can also do consistent colors. That's going to just give you the general background color of it. If you want to go to textures, that's kind of a little less loud, I guess. One of the things though, when I was playing around, I realized there is a faster way to do it. It's not necessarily the correct way, but it is a faster way. So right now I have this big area here, and this area here is kind of a generic. This is that VCT pattern. It's kind of ugly. But if I click on it, so let's see, let me hover and get it. So if I have this guy light all the way up, I can use my paint tool. So again, I usually don't show this to you guys until I force you through learning it the hard way. But this is the tool that you can use to either clean things up or in your final. But you go to the paint over here. And then this is also going to link back to your materials library and pull that up. So in my case, I want to bring in like my wood flooring. So I'm just going to type up here and put in wood. And I think I called it herringbone. So let me see if it comes up nicely. Actually, there it is. That's my crazy wood flooring right there. So I'm going to click on it and it's going to paint in this crazy herringbone I picked up. So this is obviously a little bit faster than making each of these like flooring systems by itself. So for example, if I wanted to make this guy that tile instead, this little bathroom right here, hope I don't want to make it that. So I'm going to actually go back to the paint thing, go over here, bring it back up. Oh, it's going to bring up the library again. Come on. And it takes a second. All right, so we're going to type in tile, and that tile yellow should come up again for me. There's going to be other tiles here, but I'm going to have, there it is there. Click on there. That paints that a different color. So that is a more sane and quicker way to do this. It's also a little bit more forgiving too, like I said, if you don't like what you have here. So I think I have another kind of wood. So I have this walnut, so I can kind of paint that in instead, tone that down a little bit. Oh, I guess it's not flooring. That might be just like hardwood. But again, it's going to be a quicker way. Let me see if I have a wood flooring again. Oh no, we'll just play with this. But again, you can kind of come in and out and paint this a little bit more quickly than you can making it via doing architecture floor, making the floor, editing it. This is an okay way to do it. So basically, since we don't have the base options of carpet and flooring over here now, you can just use the VCT one and then just repaint them. And again, I wasn't purposely trying to torture you today, but it's one of those things where we need to teach you kind of the correct way to do it for when, if you're working in an architecture firm. But this is a faster way to obviously just paint the top surface of this flooring. All right, so thanks for bearing with us today. It was very hot in the classroom and you all did a really good job working your way through this. So again, homework is to finish your flooring, finish your bathroom, and then Thursday we're going to start in on ceilings. And there's only 3 options and they're already preloaded. So we're just going to kind of do a similar thing, but tracing basically in what's the ceiling part of the rooms. All right, have a good rest of the week too. There we go.